All right, we're getting ready to send Shane's truck out, doing a nut and bolt check. Stay tuned to the end to see the whole process. We're still tightening bolts now. You're gonna watch till the end? Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the wrap-up video for Shane Smith's. Don't know what year, 64 to 66. Don't kill me, John Vaughn. I know it's not a 63. But I honestly don't know, 64 to 66, something like that. This truck obviously rides on an airbag chassis. This is not a full chassis though. This is a front kit and a rear back half from GSI. It has AccuAir for the air management. So we have two 3-gallon VT tanks, one on either side. And we have 2 Vire compressors, again, one on either side. And then we have the AccuAir E-level. So that will lift up the truck, put it at a good ride height. For those that aren't in the know with AccuAir, there's no pressure gauges. There is no toggle switches. This is a touchpad system. You get in, you can press 1, 2, or 3, or you can control it individually, but 1, 2, and 3 are your presets. So like on this truck and most of the ones we do, get in, press button 2, lifts up to the perfect ride height every time because there's height sensors at each wheel. So it doesn't matter if you've got 1,200 pounds of lumber in the back of the truck, it's still gonna lift up to the same height because it's a mechanical sensor. So it makes these trucks so reliable these days. 22 by 8.5 up front, 20 big old 24 by 15s out back. These are US mag wheels. Just for those that don't know, that is a 405 25 24 tire. So it measures a little over 16 inches wide in the back. Obviously the big shock and awe factor of this truck is the red paint job. This is Rosa red, I believe, or was that Wendell's? We just did the last one we just did was red too. One of them's straight up red, one of them's Rosa red. Either way, it's bright arse red. Unique thing on the outside of this is all this trim. This is factory trim, but we sent the trim, the bumpers, the door handles, the mirrors, the grille, headlight trim, taillight trim, and of course all the rest of the chassis and the wheels out to Pack Coast Powder. And they did a brushed treatment on this. So what they did is they did he calls it Tijuana Chrome. So they did Tijuana Chrome, and then they came back and Scotch-Brighted it with a Scotch-Brite pad. Then it's clear-coated after that, so it locks it in. Really unique look. We could have just thrown chrome trim on it. It would have been just like every other truck, but Shane wanted to do something cool. Again, on the outside, just like all of our builds, LED lighting from United Pacific. So 7-inch headlights, LED sequential turn signals front and rear, brake lights are sequential. There's not a ton of like super custom work on the outside, but it's just been cleaned up, a lot of hours of body work, and then painted by Frank over at Eye Candy Paintworks. So under the hood's pretty special on this truck, looks wise for sure. So this is an engine that he brought to us. I don't know a ton about the engine itself, other than it is a 6-liter, it has a blower cam on it, and it's been built to handle some of the turbo. Not all of the turbo, so we've got the boost dialed down a little bit. What we did to the engine is we mounted the Nelson mirror image turbos. We built all the hot side plumbing, so the headers that come up to it, we didn't just use a manifold. We wanted to put these things in the perfect location so that they were away from as much heat-wise, but also kind of up in your face. This has a heat exchanger in between the Holley intake manifold, so there's no big, huge intercooler in the front, mostly because there's not a lot of room up here. So the cooling system for the intake air is more like a supercharger. So we've got a heat exchanger here. We built a reservoir here, holds over 1 gallon of antifreeze. And then that is pumped through the system and in between, in a brick, in between the upper part of the intake manifold and where the intake air goes into the motor. So that's what cools the intake air temps, makes it so this thing doesn't detonate. We built all the sheet metal under here. And the reason we had to build it ourselves is just to fit all this turbo stuff in here. We vented it out the side, so we've got some screens in there. It's got a Wegner pulley setup on it. We had to modify the entropy radiator just because we're so tight up front. So we did some things like the water neck, 90'd that, chopped some stuff down, shortened it, compacted it. Again, we built the reservoir over here. We painted an all-American billet coolant reservoir over here for the radiator. And then since we're in Arizona, we threw some K&N filters on it. So maybe when he goes out east and there's not as much dust, he can put a screen on it. But for out here, filters are the way to go. Underneath the hood's all painted satin red, so same color as exterior. So in the back, some of the sheet metal work was done when we got the truck, but we finished it out, built the opening for the floor, and then we did just some accent strips inside here, and we sent those out to have powder coated and brushed just with the rest of the trim. So it makes the bed look a little bit different than most of the other ones out there. Plus this one has the tricky air bed shocks, so you can press the button on the remote and it goes up really quick. So like I said, GSI back half. This exhaust is really quiet on this truck because of the turbos. Turbos will quiet it down, but we also have a set of Borla mufflers here, and then all the exhaust that we built is all 3-inch stainless steel Borla exhaust. And then it's all ceramic coated too. Accents under here are the same color as the trim, but without the brush. So it's just the Tijuana chrome, as Brandon calls it. Everything's hard lined, everything's plumbed through the chassis. This thing's got a pretty big fuel system on it, so we've got number 8 lines, 2 pumps, all that stuff. So kind of ugly, unless you spend the time and hardline it, which I don't like for serviceability. So what we did is we put a cover on here that bolts on with 4 bolts. If you ever need to get to the pump, you can unbolt this cover that cleans everything up and get to everything real easy. 2 Optima batteries, 1 on either side. Circuit breakers on the batteries so you don't burn your truck down. Cutoff switch under the dash so your batteries don't die. On the outer side of the frame rails, on either side up front, we have the AccuAir VT tanks we talked about earlier. And we use the GSI mounts to hang the compressor off of each tank. And then we also hung the AccuAir ECU off of there as well. And then kind of finishing up the rear end stuff is a big, huge Curry 9-inch rear end, but it has their F9 housing, so it looks a little bit cooler than just the standard hot rod housing. All right, we're gonna put the bed down here. See? Wait for it. There it goes. Inside, we have a Snowden bench seat. This is exactly how it came to us, other than the fact that we Cerakoted the cup holders. We also Cerakoted things like these Ring Brothers door handles and window cranks. Steve built all the interior. So we've got sun visors, we've got a dash pad that's a little unique to these trucks. Normally they didn't come with a dash pad, so Steve built that out. We have Restomod AC in here. Kept this one a little bit simple with just doing the vents right in the middle. We've got a Pioneer 7-inch double din in the middle with CarPlay. Dakota Digital HDX gauges. So the cool thing about these gauges is they'll read a lot of different things. There's a lot of expansion modules you can do for them. The wiper switch, since this truck doesn't have wipers, is actually like the fake e-brake switch for the radio. So when you have to get into settings, anybody's familiar with these, you have to put the e-brake on in order to get into settings. So we just tricked it, turned the wiper on, and it thinks the e-brake's on. We have a switch on the dash because we have lights under the hood and we have lights in the bed. And then we also have an auxiliary switch under here that will do the bed. And then we have a switch for the underbody lights too. So this thing will light up. I don't know if we'll get to show you that on this video, but it does have lights everywhere. Other than that, factory rearview mirror, factory dome light. We just replaced it with the clear lens and an LED. Floor mats, so you can keep this thing clean. Stereo in this one is kind of the same pattern that we've been doing. Some Morel speakers up in the kick panel that is scuffed from me getting in and out of it. And then we have some JL subs in the back and JL amplifiers. E-level is on a switch suspension little flip out deal. So this guy just flips away and you don't see it. When you want to use it, you bring it back out. Built specialty steering wheel. I did it column. It's all sealed up with precision replacement products. Windshield seal, back glass seal, all your door felts and channels, and your door seals. These are press-on door seals, so you don't have to glue them on anymore. Okay, that's a wrap. This thing's done. Heading back east. 2 red trucks in a row for wrap-up videos. 2 of them going back east, both to Georgia area, and we're because there's 2 more planes coming. So, cut. I don't know what else to say. Fun stuff. Hope you like it. Subscribe, buy shirts and hats, and the sun's in my face. What, 2 weeks ago when we shot Wendell's, I was in a flannel and long pants, and now it's supposed to be 100 degrees today. So The weather changes in Arizona. I don't know why that's a fact, but that's a fact. So see you later. What he's trying to say is Pio's marking Shane's nuts. Oh. Okay, we're at the end of the video now. Glad you stayed tuned and watched. Keeps our minutes up, support the channel, and then we'll keep bringing you content like this. I hope you enjoyed the wrap up. So basically this is what we do at the end, right before we're getting ready to send something back out to the owner. This one is a little bit different because there's not a lot of miles, so we're spending even more time on it at once. But we go through, we clean up all the road grime that we've gotten on here. We look for any leaks that we may have missed. We've probably already caught one or two, I think. Yep. Just tighten up some hose clamps on the radiator line. But what we do is we go through, and you can see like on this bolt, we mark everything. So we put a little white paint pen, and it tells us if that nut has spun on the threads, which would then be a dead giveaway that something's loose. So we go through, test everything, or tighten everything, and check everything, knock on it, make sure it's good, and that way we know we can confidently send this back to Shane. So thanks for watching. What do you gotta say?
No, we're good. We're clean.
Oh, we're good.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
Yep.
All the things.
Buy some swag.
Buy some swag.
Yeah.
Order a tailgate latch kit.
Keep Jeremy busy, shipping things out.
Bye.